Welcome to the Executive Real Estate Investing Show. This podcast is for you, the busy business owner or executive looking to create generational wealth. Here, we're going to show you how to do that through real estate investing, from multifamily to industrial and everything in between. You will become a real estate investing expert. And now, here's your host, Michael Holman.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Executive Real Estate Investing Show. I'm your host, Michael Holman. We have a great episode with us today. We have TJ. He is phenomenal. I can't ever say his last name, even though I've known him for years. You're going to hear that through this episode, but it is a really great episode. He's actually the founder of SyndicationPro, Holdfolio. A lot of you have probably seen him around, so we're really excited to get him on. Right before we get started, though, we have to just make sure everybody here, if you're liking what you're listening to, go ahead and hit that subscribe button on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. You can find us there. Leave us a rating and review. We want to hear from you. And also, we want to make sure everybody knows and understands executive.reishow.com. You go in there, you can see the show notes. Even today, you're going to see that we're putting a lot of information in those show notes, a lot of resources. So you can go in there, you can connect and see what these people that we have on the show, all these amazing people that are on the show, what they're doing, what they're up to, how to connect with them. So executive.reishow.com. And before we get into today's episode, as always, we got to get into the executive tip. Today's executive tip is break down your core beliefs. And what I mean by that is you have to understand what are your core beliefs, what's at the center of who you are and what you believe, right? Whether that's religion or something else, understanding and breaking that down. I mean, in today's episode, you're going to hear how TJ's, faith in his religion really was fundamental to his success, not only just in life, but in real estate and in business, and how he's taking those lessons throughout. So you have to be able to break down your core beliefs, right? Whether that's faith-based or otherwise. Today's executive tip: understand those core beliefs, because that is what is driving you to succeed in life, in business, and in other aspects of your life. Let's get into today's episode right now. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Executive Real Estate Investing Show. I'm your host, Michael Holman. We got a very special guest today, TJ. You know what, TJ? I am going to have to get you to say your last name for everyone, because I know I'm going to mess it up. All right, TJ, say your last name for everyone.
No worries. It's Lokboj, and in English pronunciation is Lokboj. I'm from the Republic of the Marshall Islands, and so the pronunciation is Lokboj.
Okay. All right. But the English version is Lokboj.
Yes.
All right. You know what? TJ and I, we spent some time together. I messed that up every time, and I just need to apologize right from the beginning. But thank you for saying that with everyone. TJ he has been a very busy man. He's an entrepreneur, investor, innovator. He's the founder of SyndicationPro. He's the managing partner of Holdfolio. And correct me if I'm wrong, but based on all your experience and your relationships, you've been on Business Insider, Yahoo Finance, Morningstar. Those are some big names.
Yeah. Just sharing those publications through the both companies. Whenever we have big milestones, we're able to curate content and get on those and add value to the market with insights as well. So I'm also a member of the Forbes Real Estate Council as well. So try my very best to add value with information and build networks as well, man.
That is awesome. So, TJ and I got acquainted through a mutual friend. Just so happens he has all these awesome companies as well. And at the time, I don't even know if I really realized it, but TJ, tell us, Holdfolio, SyndicationPro, which one of those came first?
Yeah. So interestingly enough, Holdfolio, the story of SyndicationPro, which is the software company, what we do is we help real estate fund managers and syndicators streamline the process of raising capital and managing investor relations. Where we add a lot of value on the cost side as well. This is a technology that historically has been really built primarily in the beginning for large institutional level firms, where we saw an opportunity to democratize this technology to the masses. And with the rise of both information and technology, we are seeing an opportunity to move the industry forward and help people adopt digital transformation to stay competitive. But
awesome.
Holdfolio came before SyndicationPro. We're sponsors ourselves, so we were doing deals back in 2014, right after the Jobs Act happened. We saw this awesome opportunity, Michael, to add value to the marketplace by making it more accessible for investors to invest in private deals. But then after utilizing our own systems and processes, a lot of our peers in the industry were saying, how are you all tapping into crowdfunding and online investors? And we said, we have this system that we developed from the software side. We don't recommend that you actually build it yourself. It's just too too crazy. We dealt with all the headaches. And so eventually we brought this to market, now offer it commercially for investment firms looking to do the same. So that's kind of the advent here.
All right. That's fantastic. So Holdfolio, you got that started, you said in 2014. What does Holdfolio do and invest in right now?
Yeah, so Holdfolio, we are a fully vertically integrated firm. Our headquarters are in the Midwest, so Indianapolis, Indiana. We self-manage and operate a lot of our assets in our local markets. We started in single family, interestingly enough, so buying portfolios of single family homes and then syndicating those with our network of investors. Mm-hmm. Eventually, we wanted to grow with more economies of scale and have a higher potential return. So we pivoted and started focusing on commercial back in 2016. However, since we're really focused in technology right now, if anyone has ever been involved in a technology company, it is a grind. It is full on, all hands on deck. So what we decided to do was pivot our business model once again and, focus on expanding our portfolio and exposure to more deals by investing in other sponsors' deals. So to date, we've done 10 investments this year, and all of these were great off-market opportunities by partnering with other sponsors who are really great, and we're placing our funds into their deals and coming in, on that partnership front.
So you've done these 10 deals, what's kind of the average size of those? Are we talking a couple 100,000? Are we talking a couple million? What do you feel like what's the average size of those 10 deals that you're doing?
Yeah, all of our investments are in the 7 figures, but what we try to look for is scalability, operations that have 100 units plus. That's kind of our threshold and appetite when making a decision on an investment opportunity. And so that's kind of the thresh there. We're invested in 9 different markets, or actually now to date, it's 11 different markets, over 19 submarkets. And in multiple asset classes that include multifamily, our bread and butter, but also expanded into assisted living, as well as new construction. We have an appetite for storage units as well, which is something that we're looking forward to doing. But yeah, that's kind of the deal. And with our large network, and that's what we leverage, is we have an incredible loyal network of investors that have been with us since 2014. With using the power of the crowd, this is how we're able to add value to our potential partners as well.
That's awesome. Well, I have to kind of take a step back, right? Before we get really deep into the real estate, a lot of our listeners, they're dealing with a lot of the business problems that and concerns and questions and successes that you've probably had growing Holdfolio, growing SyndicationPro, kind of going back to those early days. just talk to me about what it was like starting, these brand new businesses or coming on from these brand new businesses. What was that experience like for you?
Absolutely. In the early days with any startup or business venture, I feel like a lot of the primary goal is to validate and get past the testing period, right? And so this is a very difficult time for most entrepreneurs to get through, right? I've already shared a few ways that we've already pivoted in our business with Holdfolio. Times that by 100 with SyndicationPro. You're a tech startup, you have a vision of trying to add value in the marketplace, and in the process of finding product market fit, you really have to expect there to be this constant iterative process where you're testing and you're failing and you're regrouping and you're just continuing to grind it out. And so I had never done a technology startup before, and boy, does that kind of push you to kind of continue to focus on the value and the vision of what you're trying to do to help push the market and the industry forward. So I would say that finding product market fit was a very difficult thing, but it's something that is very, very a part of the process. And so I would just say, trust the process when you're in those early days. And another important part of this entire thing is to ensure that you're working with the best of the best people who are also aligned with the vision and who are looking to build something great together and go through those trialing those difficult times, right? So
yeah, that's awesome. And I can fully attest to everything that you're saying, TJ. I mean, I think about I tell everyone we kind of look like a 40-year-old startup, right? That's what, the owner of our company doesn't love it that much, but for me, honestly, I mean, we've had this exponential growth and we're kind of continuing on over these last 4 years. And I've experienced a lot of the same things you have. I mean, even just narrowing it down to, how we get the money or how we get a development done. There's so many pivots that happen, and you have to be willing to make those pivots and adjustments and keep moving forward, and not just throw your hands up in the air and say, well, there's nothing I can do and it's all over and I tried. There's always a way. I mean, I'm not saying don't be reckless, but there's always options to pivot, move forward, change directions, pivot. And I love that you're going through that process and talking about, hey, Holdfolio and SyndicationPro, those are established companies. Those are well-known companies in this space. And to hear that, hey, we're consistently and constantly trying to get better. That's, one of the best, just overall general business advice that almost anyone could give is you have to be willing to pivot and move forward. So I love that you mentioned that. And I love that you say that. Kind of getting into Holdfolio and into SyndicationPro a little bit. I mean, you talked a little bit about SyndicationPro. I want to spend just a second because that's really unique. Most people go from technology to real estate. You've almost gone real estate to technology, right? And so, what was the main motivation behind saying, "Hey, let's look at SyndicationPro. There might be an opportunity here." What was that main motivation?
Absolutely. So as I mentioned, while we're growing in our business with Holdfolio, and there was a lot of our peers who were asking like, hey, how do we kind of develop what you've developed on the tech side? And we're not technologists ourselves, but we know like very intimately the jobs to be done for real estate syndicators and fund managers. And so this gave us an opportunity to kind of look at what was out in the marketplace. And after looking at a lot of the incumbent and well-known solutions that are out there, we realized that there was an opportunity to, number one, simplify what was being used. Michael, in our industry, not only are we kind of a slow beast in terms of adopting digital
Absolutely.
information, that I think that a lot of it is because, operators want to keep things simple, right? Our business is finding deals and compounding capital for our investors, right? We don't want to spend too much time in figuring out an entire system or setting up implementation that will take 6 months, right? That's just, interesting to us. And so what the goal was is to create something that was just stupid simple for sponsors and their investors to operate on, to really streamline that process of working together. And so we saw a gap in the market, and we knew that if we could focus on making something simple and more affordable and accessible and more streamlined, that this would make a huge impact and there would be a huge demand for it. And this was a problem for our peers. And so, testing it out, we were able to get immediate positive feedback. We grew from 0 to 600 firms very, very quickly. So another thing that a lot of our customers resonate with is, because we're sponsors ourselves, we've developed the systems to follow jobs to be done. This is a business theory term that I use. Jobs to be done is focused on, the actual jobs that you hire a product or service for. And, we wanted to keep two things in mind. How do we help people raise capital more efficiently? And how do we help them focus on growing their business? If the features didn't serve those two things, we're not putting it on there. So just one example was, a small but important innovation was, automated ACH distributions. A lot of folks were, in our industry, they're still sending physical checks to their investors, which is fine. But when you have people who are moving around and you get checks bounces and things like that, we're in a day and an age where that should have been automated a long time ago. So when we brought that to market, people were freaking out, man. They were like, oh man, finally now I can just have my people, we can wire their monies right into their accounts. And I was like, great. Well, this is one part that we can add value to, but there's all these small things, Michael, that we're really excited to innovate in within our space. But the last thing I'll mention, I had a recent call with one of our customers. Because we are sponsors ourselves, we started in the real estate side and we partner with the technologists to develop SyndicationPro. We offer this level of service that real estate fund managers are well accustomed to. One of our customers reached out. She was having problems setting up her e-sign documents in our system. You're able to upload that and automate that process. Well, on their end, they had messed something up and she just couldn't figure it out. Technology. She's like, I don't know how to do this. Well, it was on a Saturday afternoon. This is how, with deals, when you're raising capital and trying to get deals done, urgency is everything.
Yep.
Which I understand. So she calls my direct cell phone, Michael. I pick up the phone and I say, hey, I just need to sing happy birthday to my daughter real quick. And then I'll jump on and help set it up for you. And that's what I did. And that's what we're kind of becoming synonymous with, is the guys who will get stuff done. And so I think aside from the technology, it's just being a strategic partner and working with our customers in a way where we're sponsor obsessed, because we are sponsors ourselves. So anyways, that's a long way of letting
No, I love it. I absolutely love it. Well, you're sponsors yourselves and you're working with a bunch of different sponsors. You're sending all these publications into, all, like I said, Yahoo Finance, Morningstar, Business Insider. These are all really big names. I'd love to start getting kind of your insight and intake on the real estate market. A question that comes up quite frequently nowadays is, where are we at in the real estate cycle? And I know this is a crystal ball question, so I'm going to ask you, take out your crystal ball, give us, just give us your opinion. From the information that you've collected, where are we at in the real estate market? Where do you see things kind of going in the next, 1 year, 5 years down the road?
Yeah, so I'm no economist. I won't pretend to be. I think that for us and our focus, what we're looking at is that, obviously the market's become extremely competitive, right, Michael? Especially on the multifamily front, which is the asset class that we focus on, with compressed cap rates as well. Fortunately, because of our business model, we are seeing a trend where, especially in the syndication realm, syndication, it could be a combination of multiple firms or partners co-GPing on opportunities. And so leveraging your network to find those right deals. Your dad actually shared a quote that stuck with me throughout my entire career. And I listened to him in a podcast, and in the podcast, his advice was, when you're doing your first deal, focus on getting the best deal. Don't you get antsy on trying to find opportunities and get a deal done. Just focus on the right deal and the best deal. And that's kind of what we look at when looking at opportunities right now and into the future. So I still hold true to that, so thanks to your dad. He's such a phenomenal leader here in the Valley, here in Utah, but he's also a huge pioneer and everyone looks up to him. So anyways, I wanted to plug that in because it's so true.
Yeah.
And we just stick to our criterias of, opportunities that have great risk adjusted returns, strong cash flows, which is that's the type of investors we are. And so if we can try to calculate or predict the cash flow side, looking into the future, that's what we do. And then also the best ways for us to mitigate risk is the partners, the operation team, making sure we're working with the very best of the best in phenomenal markets, really great markets with great job diversity, great population growth. Those are the things that everyone focuses on, but those things are fundamental. And then I would say, looking into the future, 2020, 2019, 2021, people have just kind of kept talking about things being overpriced, things being overheated in the real estate world. Well, in my opinion, if you can find great opportunities, then it's better to be in the market than be out. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
We've seen a lot of opportunities where we've gone full cycle on a lot of our deals this year that we've, that we acquired a couple of years ago. So shorter time in full cycles. And there's the opportunity there of doing a
exactly
sale or a refi. So there's always going to be opportunities for you to capitalize on in any market. So I don't know where we're at, to be honest, but I know that we stay true to our fundamental core values. And one of them, I would say, is very based off what your dad shared. It's just focus on great deals. That's what you need to focus on. So
love it. Sage advice.
Yes.
Sage advice. Well, I want to kind of zero in on one of the things that you mentioned, right? And that's being focused in on really great markets, really great cities, where obviously you're expanding, but where right now, I mean, if you were to give your top 5 list, or your top 7 list of markets that you're excited about right now, what would that be?
Boy, that's a great one. So we're still really loving the Midwest. And just because we have a lot more control, we understand that as our backyard markets. So Indiana, Indianapolis, we love Kentucky, we love Cincinnati, and but there's a lot of great opportunities in the Southeast as well. So we've just done, we just closed up on an opportunity in Florida as well.
Okay.
So yeah, I would say that where we have the strongest boots on the ground is where we're focused on, and we're always also expanding the development side. I know that you all are killing it here in the Intermountain West, and so we're looking forward to seeing opportunities there too, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is great. We love places like in Texas where technology is booming as well. North Carolina is another great market.
Yep.
But here in Utah, as well as in Idaho, St. George, those with the technology hubs that are just positioned to grow and expand, I think that that right there is a strong indicator on the job sector side that we look forward to.
I love it.
So yeah.
No, that's really great. I love the focus on some of those technology. I mean, we've seen that those technology centers often become, hubs and employment centers, which is obviously one of, if not the main driving factor for multifamily growth and multifamily occupancy. So, that's a really great little insight. I'm going to throw a curveball at you on that as well. What is one market that you're not in that you wish you were in, or that you want to get in?
One market that we're not in, that we wish we were in, is here in Utah and maybe down south there in Phoenix as well. With the net migrations, especially since last year with Californians going upstream, there's a lot of opportunity for growth on the population side, the job front, overall demand. And so we actually are not invested in, personally, I have a couple of small multifamilies here in Utah, but we've seen such an incredible growth there. But I would love to find more construction development opportunities here in the Intermountain West. That would be wonderful. That'd be awesome. So,
well, awesome. TJ, you and I will talk afterwards, but because everyone listening to this show, they know that's our bread and butter, right? I mean, we're all about development, and we're all about the Intermountain West, especially Utah and Arizona is our main markets. But that's, kind of shifting gears just a little bit. I want to talk a little bit about, just some of maybe the challenges or some of the things that you've had to overcome. And one of the things that kind of come to mind is just, I'd love to hear how you kind of navigated, even going back to the very beginning. How'd you overcome the challenges of immigrating? Because I know you and I were talking earlier, you actually immigrated to the US from the Marshall Islands. What did you overcome during that process that helped you, through these startups and through these investments with real estate?
Absolutely. Thanks, Michael. So yeah, I was originally born in the Republic of the Marshall Islands. My family and we moved here to America in 1995. I didn't speak English, and so none of us did. And so I was about 5 years old, and coming to this new, my island, Michael, is 2 football fields wide.
Oh my goodness.
One road throughout the entire. So when we flew over LAX in 1995, I looked down and I saw all those lights, man. I literally thought I was in another planet. But my mom, she was a small micro entrepreneur who owned little huts, stores in different villages. She literally sold everything for tickets to come to the US. And we lived with my aunt for about 2 or 3 years while we were saving up for our first home or apartment. So I grew up, this is my childhood up until I moved out of my house, but we lived in no less than 1,000 square feet with 8 people in the house, 2 room, 1 bath. And
that's impressive.
Yeah, that's how I grew up, man. And my dad, he left our family and passed away when I was 13 years old. It was a difficult time for me because, I was trying to find my way in life and trying to, we were homeless at one point in our lives as well when we couldn't pay rent. So what happened was I kind of struggled for a long time, and I actually dropped out of high school. Most people don't know this, but I left high school and I started working so that I can help provide for my mom. I was working 2 jobs, as a 17-year-old. And that was one of the best experiences of my life because it gave me a lot of confidence. But Michael, this was also the time where I was able to meet with 2 amazing young men, missionaries for my church, who came and taught me about faith and hope. And this changed my life. I was able to literally do a 180 and, was able to get married to my sweetheart. I served a church mission just like they did for 2 years. And that was the single thing that got me through every rough time in my life, was this renewed faith in that there's a plan. And so I would say, regardless of what faith people are in, I think that holding strong to, true principles and principles that help you serve and have a proactive and a strong mindset, that's the one thing that changes people's lives. That's what's gotten me out of poverty. And I've seen it with so many different people. So yeah, that's kind of in a nutshell, the story, man.
No, that is honestly, that's an amazing story. And I really appreciate you sharing that with us. I mean, kind of even fast forwarding to today, I mean, how do you feel like those experiences, or what lessons did you learn from those experiences that are helping you right now?
I would say that, character is probably the most important thing when doing business. Knowing that you're working with someone who stands behind their beliefs and also who's focused on living true to those principles that they believe in is so important. So, when I started SyndicationPro and I was working with my partners, I only had one rule. I said, I don't work on Sundays. So just expect that. And that is one thing that I ask, is that you don't send me emails, nothing on Sundays. And I know this is a small thing, but it's so important for me to always hold true. I think that builds confidence in those that I work with and those that I serve within my companies, is that they know who I am, and I'll always tell them straight. And so that's one thing that has really helped me. And I try to find the same thing with working with other people, is folks that are good, trustworthy, and who live whatever principles that they hold true to themselves. Doesn't mean they have to be in a religion or whatever. I just feel like character and living and operating on principles is foundational. So
yeah, that is honestly really, really wise advice. And I highly recommend that. I mean, I know, us here at Overland and myself, I mean, we have partnered with many, many people throughout the years, and it's those that have a high level of integrity, that always, they work out everybody. And it's not that those deals, those partnerships are flawless, but we're always able to work through any of the issues, right? There's both parties are open, both parties are trying to work together and show integrity. And that's really important. I mean, if you're just getting into a deal, whether you're wanting to be an active investor and partner with others to actually be the sponsor, or whether you're a limited partner, and you're just interested in investing passively into syndication, either one of those scenarios, I think it's really because you're essentially you're entering into a partnership, and you need to understand who it is that you're investing alongside with, so that you can make sure, right? At the end of the day, even if things don't go perfectly, or whether they do go perfectly, you can know that everything is being done appropriately and, respectfully and all of that. So I love that advice.
Yeah. 100%, man. I love that. That's awesome.
So TJ, I just kind of want to wrap some things up. There's 2 questions we ask everybody who comes onto the show. And I'm going to shoot them to you right now. First off, what is the best business advice you were ever given?
Yeah, I would say, man, I'm not even trying to butter you guys up, but your dad's quote, it all comes down to finding the best deals and offering the best service to your investors on that front. Basically what I would boil that down to is just do things right and focus on that side. So that is a really good advice is on your first deal, but I would extend it to on every deal. Don't rush it. Just get the right one. I would also expand that to partnerships. Don't rush the partnerships. Every time, with my experience of investing in different things, it's, like for example, buying a small unit here in the Valley. Whenever there was a problem that went wrong, it was because someone didn't do what they said they were going to do.
Yep.
And so take time in developing those partnerships and get those right. So I would say, man, that's a great advice right there, man.
No, I love it. Well, you might have answered a little bit of this, but I'm going to ask you anyway. What real estate investing advice would you give other business owners or business executives?
Yeah. For a lot of the theme that we were talking about, overcoming challenges, being resilient through tough times, being flexible, and pivoting. I would say that, your future is as bright as your faith. Just have faith in yourself, have faith in your team, and persevere, continue to work at it, and trust the process, and all things will work out if you work hard and do those things. The real estate game, as you mentioned, it's not difficult. We're here as stewards and adding value and serving people. And so, your future is as bright as your faith, brother.
I love it. I feel like I need to get a quote of that to go put above my door or something, touch it every time I walk out of my office. That was fantastic. Well, TJ, how can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, they can find me on Instagram, as well as on LinkedIn, or if they want to visit our websites, my websites, Holdfolio.com or SyndicationPro.com. And so we help both on the LP or the sponsors. We're really focused on the sponsor side, helping people with Syndication Pro. So here to add value, and those are the avenues you can find me.
Awesome. Love it. And for everyone listening, we will have those in the show notes. So don't worry. You don't have to write those down or memorize them. Just go to executivereishow.com. Go find this episode, click on it, and you'll be able to access all of those websites, and we'll make sure that all those social media handles get on there as well. Well, TJ, thank you for being on the show. Have a great day.
You too, brother. Thanks so much, Michael.
Thank you for listening to the Executive Real Estate Investing Show. Ready to learn more? Go to executivereishow.com for more episodes and resources to help you create generational wealth through real estate investing. That's executivereishow.com.